I think everybody wonders why they collect things. I think it's a sort of an extraordinary phenomenon that human beings have. No, I wouldn't. I am certainly a collector, but I think hoarding is different because I think that's random. Everything I have for a possible reason. But hoarders would also say that they probably are keeping it for a reason. But my reason is that I'm collecting more than one of anything in order to make a show of it or a display of it or an array of it. It's not about joy of having it, it's about that it's going to have some use at some point in the future. You don't want to waste tangerine or dancing people. Anyway, tangerine peel, a huge resource. It's curated hoarding, if you like. But yes, if you want to go to hoarding, let's say, yes, it's definitely hoarding. It isn't hoarding brilliant, but this is the best hoarding you've ever seen anywhere, ever. I do. I have more glass fish than anybody else in the whole world. And I bought a collection of glass fish, in boxes or something, and then started to add to it. So I have the national collection of glass fish. And I think that in thinking about this and talking to you about it, I've changed the idea of this show slightly, which this show, I think, will be about entirely what other people have collected. When you're coming across things and you see things that are cheap, and I will put them with the other thing that I've got. I am intrigued by objects. I think that the strangeness of objects is attractive and interesting. Therefore, I'm always looking at things everywhere and so I'm collecting things, not necessarily stories or narratives, but the diversity of things and strangeness and the extraordinary thought that, well, somebody's making these things in a factory in China. What do they think they're making and who do they think it's for? This museum is made from a collection of the collections of ordinary people. It is made from what is collected in front rooms, in sheds, and in bedrooms. The phenomenon of collecting is a universal disease or enthusiasm, depends on how you look at it. The extraordinary thing is these Christmas decorations. They have strange animals like that, things that the Soviets were proud of. I never like to be helped. Part of the process is the solitude of doing and choosing. One of the things that was interesting in putting up the shelves, painting them, was a learning curve that if I used a good primer, I wouldn't need to do 2 coats. Such are the extraordinary revelations that you can't know before you start. I'm going to start, I think, with a representative collection and then refine it, perhaps. I mean, I don't think they've become priceless. Irritatingly, what people brought back from abroad, you know, is, I guess, miniatures and dolls. You know, is it a judgment or is it a celebration? Are these objects interesting? Could they ever become interesting? As I'm arranging it and as I'm doing the show, that is my studio practice, is, you know, all these thoughts about composing, juxtapositions, arranging, you know, and it's like creating a painting using objects. There were these two big boxes that they were wanting to get rid of, but I'd never opened them. So taking these things out and trying to work them out, and this is just coming from this boxes. I haven't used the 5 boxes that I've got from other collections. What is your response to this? What is your natural response? What is your considered response? What is your first impression? I want my first impression to be an astonishment array of things. Isn't that just fabulous? It is just such a lovely diversity of everything.